Each one of us comes forth from the same infinite source. Each one of us lives in that same infinite source. We express ourselves and have our life inside that same infinite source. We really can't get away from it. It's everywhere present. There are no other powers. In the reality of the infinite, there's just one power. However, each one of us, being made of that, we are in the image and likeness of the Creator. In other words, we are creating our own realities. We're creating our own creation inside of ourselves. We think other people are having the same reality that we have, but that's not so. We're all individual. We have been that way since the beginning of time. And we will continue creating ourselves until the end of time. And since the Creator is infinite, wow, that's a pretty amazing amount of time, you know. If you are a droplet of God, you are here experiencing the creation through your own limitations. When you were first born and you entered in through the little soft spot in the top of the head, your soul came into this body and the upper chakra started lighting up. All the way down to the root chakra at the base of the spine. And it hooked in on the root chakra. And you will be inside this body creating a reality until that root chakra lets go. And you meet. The you that I'm talking about is your higher self. It's not your personality. It's not who you identify as being in this life. It's much greater than that. It's made of the infinite stuff, which means that you are made of the infinite stuff. And you're creating a reality right now, every breath you take. I've been thinking about this all week. I usually don't do that. Usually when I get up to meditate with you and give a talk, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about. I let my higher self bring it forth. But maybe it's the Christmas season or whatever, but my higher self has been giving me a couple of ideas that I'd like to share with you today. The first is that you are a creator of your life. You do it every day. You do it all day long, using the word I am. And you can fill in the blank afterwards. I am sick. I am rich. I'm poor. I am alone. I'm impervious to disease. I am anything. Whatever you say, you're taking this infinite creative energy and pushing it out there. In Buddhism, they talk about right language. Are you taking this I am and misusing it? Are you cursing yourself throughout the day? And if you are, why are you doing it? And from my point of view, which is limited like yours, we were taught to do that. We were born into a family and into a society, and we were given a name, a sibling structure, We were given a sexual orientation. We were given everything. We were given ideas. Many of them might have to do with maybe being prejudiced, or ideas that being wealthy is a bad thing, or that being poor is a bad thing. You know, people walk by the homeless and they look down and they say, oh, yeah, those people, yeah, boy, they ought to get a job. We'll get to that in a minute. But why are you fixating on yourself in the way that you are? Were your parents poor? Was there some traumatic injury that happened to you early in your life that's caused you to make these decisions over and over and over again? I am this, I am that, I am this. This is what the ego does. It's always telling you who you ought to be according to it. When you start to meditate and get in touch with your higher self, you realize that you are one with the main creator, which is the original I am. And now you know that I am the I am. I am taking that same creative energy because I am in the likeness of God. I create my realities. I place my limitations upon everything in my life. And it's enforced by the fact that I'm in what the Buddhists call the six-windowed house, the five senses and my mental capacity. And this is limited. In my view, even if you're enlightened, you're still limited. I've known some enlightened teachers, thoroughly enlightened. I have no doubt that they're enlightened. My teacher was enlightened. But he couldn't speak Swahili or Mandarin. He was limited. He was limited in the people that he could reach because many people were not of the vibration or they weren't spiritually awakened enough to even tune into it. So even if you're enlightened, you're limited because you're in the world. And it's a world of limitation. Everyone and everything that you know is in some form of duality. I have said for many times, for a long time now, that when you meditate perfectly, you enter into oneness. When you're in oneness, there are no thoughts other than maybe some inspiration. But even that inspiration many times is brought down into a dualistic thing. Oh, I'm enlightened, I've got this inspiration, and then we immediately apply it in a dualistic way. I'll increase my meditation. I will. Again, we got the I going here. The I's creating all the time. It never stops. Until you get rid of the I. And you do that in deep meditation. In contemplation, you're dealing in duality. That's what contemplation is. You're thinking about this, about that, this or that. When you pray, you're in duality. I'm here, I need to be there. Or this person is here, they need to be there. I have this dualistic view. But in meditation, there's no thought. You just stop your thought. So now that we've saw that we are the problem, that Satan isn't out there tempting us, that we have somehow fallen into a dream of limitation. And in this dream, we are experiencing the creation of the divine. And how we experience that creation depends upon our state of consciousness. If you're constantly saying, I am upset, or I am broke, or I am sick, or I am alone, just fill in the blank. You're taking the infinite creative power of the universe and creating a reality that is there. And as you create that reality, the law of attraction creates a karma that pulls other people and other experiences that are in that reality into your experience. So that if you're homeless, you find yourself surrounded by homeless people and in that consciousness of homelessness. Maybe something happens, somebody does a compassionate thing and you're lifted out of homelessness, you're given a place to live, you're able to work your way into another reality where you're no longer homeless. Now you're attracting people from that reality into your life. My teacher one time had his students who were trying to get ahead in business take up golf, because he knew that the CEOs and the very wealthy people play golf. And he wanted his students who were interested in becoming a CEO or being successful in business, he had them go out and learn how to play golf, because they wanted to get in that consciousness of wealth. What are you doing with your life? That's what we ask ourselves. Why am I saying the things about myself? And why do I feel when I'm around other people like I just can't do it? When I get around certain people, they just cause me to be depressed, to feel like things are hopeless, that I cannot succeed. So we get to the second part. What you say fixates people in front of you. It's a narrative. You're creating a narrative about someone. That narrative can be based upon sex or race. It can be based upon economic structures. It can be based upon what you consider to be appropriate and inappropriate. You're always fixating everyone around you. And you're identifying either superior or not superior to those people. You're creating a bubble around your life that's your reality. So we judge others. They're either better than us or they're worse than us. And we're always in the middle here saying, I am this, I'm not that one, I am better than that. So our fixation of others locks us in. This is why sometimes when you get around certain people, you act differently. You're going down the road, you're in one state of mind, suddenly the lights come on, a police officer pulls you over, you're now in the police officer's reality. Your reality shifts. Oh my gosh, I guess I got a ticket. That's the reality of the police officer. You get the ticket, you go home, you tell your spouse, I got a speeding ticket. Oh my God, I've been telling you not to do this. You always do that. You're always. There you go. You've just been fixated by them. It's a narrative that we do to others and that others do to us. So you find in mysticism a lot of times that people will say, get away from people who drag you down. Don't have anything to do with them, because it has a bad effect upon you. again, as I'm looking at that, that attitude too is in duality. So what's the answer? Everybody around me and everything around me is in their own little realities, and they're trying to pull me into their reality. The places where I live have a certain vibration, and that affects me, and that affects my reality. You know? If you're living in Huntington Beach, you have one reality. If you're living in Pacific Palisades, you have another. It's Los Angeles. Where you live, the people you associate, how you look at yourself, how you look at your money, how you look at your relationships, how you look at your health. You are an infinite creator. So then we say, okay, I'm caught up in this thing, this Maya. I'm caught up in the wheel of Yama in Buddhism. I'm stuck. I don't know how to get out. What's the answer? Well, I'll contemplate and I'll pray. Those are good ideas. If you contemplate the higher ethers, if you contemplate on the higher, get some really inspiring books, from, I don't know, Wayne Dyer or Dalai Lama or whatever. You get some books, you read these books, they're coming from a high space, so now you're kind of identifying with that higher space. It's a good start. You're still in duality, but you're moving up. You're entertaining a better idea. So contemplation is good. Prayer is good, as long as you don't do voodoo, where you're, trying to control other people. But if you pray for enlightenment, if you pray to your higher self to open up your heart and open up your mind and to expand your awareness into oneness, then prayer's a really good thing. Even though you're still in duality, I want this to be that. But when you meditate, you stop your thoughts. In meditation, there's no duality. Stop. Eventually, your meditation stops. And you're pulled back down into the root chakra by your soul. And now you have to deal in the world. But if you contemplate the higher things, if you're praying for enlightenment and for unfoldment, and if you're meditating and experiencing the oneness, you are changing your vibration. You're moving from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. When you get into the higher vibration, you're attracting to you at that vibration the karma of that vibration. Some people, I experienced advanced beings. I experienced ascended masters, or Christ came to me. They have they're in this karma of that higher vibration, and it touches their heart. That's why we have religions, because people have found that they can gather together with people and contemplate upon the higher realms, and as a group, because they're all together, they start experiencing this beauty of spirit, whether it's in a Catholic church or in a Jehovah's Witness or whatever. There are times when they enter into a karma of uplift, where their very soul is saying there's something beyond what I'm seeing and experiencing. There's something divine in my life. And then when you do that, you start seeing that divinity in yourself, and you start thinking better of yourself. You quit putting yourself down. And then the next step was to not put any other people down either. It's called unconditional love. Unconditional love about you and unconditional love for others. And when you have that unconditional love, you're experiencing the divine. And that's your true nature. That is the source of your being. Christ said, I and the Father are one. He was talking about the Father was the infinite oneness, the creator of all things. And you are the creator of all of your things. You're the one that's doing this to yourself. But there's a way out. It's called the path. In Buddhism, it's an eightfold path. In Christianity, it has to do with the very teachings of Christ, a way of living, that if you follow the teachings of Christ, you don't do any bad karma. That's the gospel. If you're not creating bad karma, the good news is you're attracting that new vibration into your life. We could go into other religions. They all of them have something that allows you to touch the infinite if you go deep enough into it. I graduated as a student of religious science. That has never left me. I recognize the divinity of God is being expressed in everyone and everything. I've been to Nepal, I've been to India, I've been to Peru, I've been to Hungary and Europe. Everywhere I go, there are people living their lives. And many times they'll go to some temple or some ashram or some cathedral where they'll find just maybe for a brief moment that touch of the divinity. And it has usually very little to do with what they're teaching, but it's an intention from the people themselves that they came there with the intention of touching God. And that creates an opening. This meditation that I'm teaching is creating an opening. You can either take it or not. Like any teacher, it's just a door, but you have to walk through it. Find a teacher that works for you. Find somebody who will, when you're with them, they take you into light. So to recap, what's your speech? I am what? I am healthy. Well, I don't feel healthy. Just say it anyway. Unconditional love has no conditions. An emotion is a condition. Unconditional love doesn't have that emotion. Unconditional love doesn't have any particular color or any particular chakra. It's unconditional. Well, if it's unconditional, how do you know what it is? It's an intention that comes from your very heart that seeks to know the divine in everyone and everything. Remember, there's just one. In yoga means union. Don't beat yourself up. Everyone's born into sin. Everyone here is in duality. Redeem yourself. Touch the Christ within you, the oneness, the perfection. I have found one thing about my experience of enlightenment, such as it is that there is no guilt or shame. Everything that you've done in your life has brought you to this point, but now it's time to move forward. The mistakes you made in your life were done out of ignorance. You didn't know any better. You were falling under the influence of others, or you had misconceptions about what life was all about. You hurt people, you maybe allowed people to hurt you. It all stops right now. How about saying, I'm awakening? I forgive myself. I will go and sin no more. I will watch my language. I will watch my attitudes. I will watch where I am placing what I'm focusing on, because what you focus on, you become. We're just in these bodies for a short time, a few short decades. People are checking in and checking out constantly. The world is under tremendous transition. And as the world is raising its vibration, people are having a difficult time. They're locked into the old ways and they're trying to keep the old ways, but the new vibration is coming in, the vibration of divine love, a vibration of advancement. And we are being called to raise our vibration, to not fall into fear and anger and self-righteous judgment, to realize that even the worst among us comes from the divine, that there is no place, no spot where God is not. And that's a realization that you have to intend. And you can do it. You will do it. Every sentient being will attain enlightenment. And the more that you work toward it in this life, better. Ramakrishna said, you should always feel like you can attain enlightenment in this life. And where that really comes to be is that if you think you can attain enlightenment in this life and you die without attaining enlightenment, you will have at least set the intention for the next one. But if you have the intention, well, I'll not attain enlightenment in this life, it's not going to happen, then you take that intention into the next life. What makes you think that things are going to change when you die? The only thing that'll change is you'll get a nice young body, but you'll have to learn a whole new language and everything else. But everything that you've worked out in this life, you'll have worked out there. It'll be easy. And things you haven't worked out here, and people that you have not forgiven, and attitudes of racism or whatever, you'll just be born into a community that has that, and you'll have to continue to work on it. And those things that you don't want to work on for sure will probably be in your family in the next life. So determine to advance yourself as much as you can in this life. I am a divine creation of the divine. My body, perfect respiration, perfect assimilation, perfect elimination, perfect circulation. Why not? Oh, well, I have diabetes. Oh, look at what you just said. You might say, I'm experiencing diabetes. It's not who I am. I'm experiencing loneliness, but it's just an experience. I'm experiencing poverty, but I'm not identifying with it. We experience all kinds of things in this life. And we have tough times. We experience loss. I experience loss. It's not what happens to you that's important. It's how are you reacting to it. What are you saying when you say I am afterwards? So I encourage you to meditate. I encourage you to forgive people. We're all flawed. Everyone I've met is injured. You're not alone in that one. Seek the higher. Seek enlightenment. I can't recommend it enough. So let's meditate just one more song. My teacher took his students to the Coral Sea to scuba dive. And they wrote this piece of music. It's beautiful. Let's meditate to it. Namaste.